All right, let's talk about data analysis. We're going to dive into the fundamentals, how to take a complete mess of raw information and turn it into something clear, something powerful that can actually change things.
So, let's start with the big question, right? You're staring at this massive spreadsheet, thousands of rows, just a sea of numbers and text. How in the world do you turn that into a compelling story? Something that actually reveals a secret or helps you make a huge decision? Well, that's exactly the puzzle we're going to solve together.
I want you to think of this whole thing as a quest. Seriously, data analysis isn't just, boring number crunching. It's a skill. It's about figuring out the right questions to ask so you can make smart decisions. And honestly, it's like a superpower in just about any industry you can think of. It all comes down to understanding the why behind the data.
Okay, so every good quest needs a map, and this is ours. It's a simple, four-step path that pretty much every data analyst follows. First, you've got to ask good questions. Then comes the tricky part, prepping the data. Once that's done, we get to go on a hunt for patterns. And finally, the big payoff, sharing what you found. If you stick to this map, you're going to find the treasure, for sure.
And of course, every adventurer needs tools, right? For our journey, we're going to be using two absolute powerhouses, Python, which is this super versatile programming language, and a library for it called Pandas. Pandas is basically the Swiss Army knife for data. It just makes handling data in Python a breeze. These are the tools we're going to use to forge our insights.
And you know what? Getting started is way easier than it sounds. It often boils down to this one little command, pandas.read_CSV. That's it. That's the key that unlocks the whole thing. Doesn't matter if your data is in a CSV file or an Excel sheet, this one line of code gets you in the door. Okay, so once your data's loaded, you need to, take a look around, see what you're dealing with. And for that, we use the .head command. It's like your first peek inside. It just spits out the first few rows so you can get a quick feel for the columns and the overall structure.
All right, now this next part is really cool because you learn so much so fast. The .describe function, think of it like taking your data's vital signs. It gives you this instant statistical summary. You get the count, the average, standard deviation, all that good stuff for all your number-based columns. It's like a quick health check before we start the real investigation. So, we've got the vitals. We have a basic feel for our data. Now we get to be detectives. This next stage is called exploratory data analysis, or EDA for short. And it's all about putting on that detective hat and hunting for clues, looking for patterns, and trying to uncover those hidden stories.
So, what is EDA, really? Well, it's basically the process of using stats and visuals to get a handle on your dataset's main characteristics. We're not trying to prove anything just yet. It's more about getting cozy with the data, spotting weird things and starting to form the real questions we want to dig into later. Every good detective has a kit, right? And ours includes a few key techniques. We're going to be spotting trends. Think of it like a clue unfolding over time. We'll be hunting for outliers, those really strange data points that just don't seem to fit. And you really got to pay attention to these because an outlier might just be a typo, or it could be the absolute game-changing insight that everyone else missed. Then we'll group and filter things, kind of like comparing different suspects to see who really stands out. This is how we start to piece together the real story. Okay, let's talk about a step that so many people try to skip, but it is absolutely crucial. Data cleaning. And look, it's not just a chore. It's more like an art form. It's about turning a messy, inconsistent pile of data into a reliable masterpiece. Because let's be real, if your data's garbage, your insights are going to be garbage too.
Just take a look at this. This is the kind of thing you'll see all the time in the real world. You've got missing values, here they're marked as NaN, you've got dates all over the place, written in totally different formats, and then you have text, like city names with random capitalization. I mean, trying to analyze this mess directly, it would be a complete nightmare of errors and confusion.
But then, look at this. This is the magic of cleaning. After we do our thing, suddenly the missing values are handled, all the dates are in one standard format, and the categories are perfectly uniform. Now this is a dataset that's clean, reliable, and ready for some real analysis.
So, we've come a long way. We've asked our questions, we've done our detective work, we've cleaned up the mess. The last step in our quest is the big reveal, sharing what we found. And to do that, we're going to bring our insights to life with a really cool no-code visualization tool.
This right here, this is the moment it all comes together. All that prep work, all the code, all the cleaning, it's all been leading up to this. It's finally time to take those numbers and make them speak, to make them tell a story that anyone can understand. And one of the absolute best ways to do that is with a simple bar chart. I mean, just look at how clear this is. You can see in a split second which region has the highest sales. You don't have to squint at a table of numbers. The insight just jumps right out at you. It's perfect for comparing different categories.
But what if you're not trying to compare things? What if you want to show how something is broken down into parts? Well, that's where something like a donut chart really shines. It's fantastic for showing the pieces of a whole. In one glance, you get the entire market share distribution. It's a different kind of question, so it needs a different kind of visual story.
And that's really the key takeaway here. Your analysis, no matter how brilliant, is only as good as your ability to communicate it. Making these charts isn't just about making things look pretty. It's about building a bridge from your complex data to a clear, powerful story that makes people want to take action.
So there you have it. We went from a totally chaotic spreadsheet to a clear, visual story. You've got the map now. The data all around us, it's constantly talking, it's filled with hidden patterns and incredible insights. So the only real question left is, are you ready to learn the language and start translating?